Welcome back, everyone, to The Deep Dive. And today we're going to be taking a close look at the Joe Rogan Experience.
Yeah.
Really interesting podcast. I mean, I feel like everyone's probably at least heard of it.
It's everywhere, right?
Yeah, definitely. And we've got a ton of great material on it. And
Some really interesting perspectives.
I think our goal today is to kind of pull out the most important and intriguing things about this show for you guys so you kind of understand what makes it tick.
Yeah, what is it about this podcast that makes it so influential?
Exactly.
That's so popular, right?
Yeah, so it actually started way back in 2009, December 24th.
Christmas Eve.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Christmas Eve, 2009, so, over a decade ago.
Wow. I did not know that.
Yeah, and initially Joe Rogan had a co-host and producer, Brian Redban.
Oh, interesting.
And that was until about 2012, and then Jamie Vernon took over on the production side.
Okay, so when we're looking at this podcast, one of the first things that really jumps out is just the length of these episodes. Like, sometimes they can be over an hour.
Yeah. Sometimes they can be 3 hours long.
They can go on and on.
I've even heard of some that are like 5 hours long.
The average episode is probably somewhere between 3 and 4 hours.
Wow.
So, really deep and unfiltered discussions.
That's really interesting, because in a world where everyone wants, quick clips and short-form content, it's kind of like an anomaly.
Yeah, it really is bucking the trend.
Totally bucking the trend.
Yeah, I mean, I think you really need that long-form discussion in order to get to a deeper understanding of a topic.
Exactly.
Especially with the kinds of guests that Rogan has.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit about the guests he's had on the show.
Well, I mean, he's had such a wide range of guests, from comedians like Bill Burr to, scientists and thinkers.
Right.
Like Elon Musk.
Wow.
Edward Snowden, Bernie Sanders, Neil deGrasse Tyson.
It's really all across the board.
Yeah, it's super diverse. And I
Yeah.
think that's part of the appeal, is that you never really know what you're going to get when you tune in.
You never know who's going to be on the next episode.
Exactly. And you never know where the conversation's going to go.
That's really interesting.
And that's not for everybody.
Right.
Some people like a little bit more structure. But
Yeah.
Rogan's show is kind of, whatever happens, happens. And that can lead to some really fascinating moments.
For sure. And speaking of those fascinating moments, that interview style has gotten a lot of praise because it is so open and people feel like they can kind of get into the weeds on certain subjects.
Absolutely. It's kind of like sitting in on a conversation.
Yeah.
Between Rogan and whoever his guest is.
Exactly.
That's definitely one of the things people really like about the show, but it has also drawn some criticism.
What's interesting to me about this show, and especially after reading all this material, is that it's so polarizing.
Oh, yeah.
People either seem to love it or hate it.
I've noticed that too.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that stems from the platform that it gives to some more controversial figures.
Yeah. I mean, he has had on some people who, maybe espouse conspiracy theories.
Yeah, there have been a few times where things have been said on the show that have been later debunked by fact checkers.
Right. And that's kind of a tricky thing, right? Because on the one hand, you have this open forum for discussion, which can be really valuable.
Totally.
But on the other hand,
you run the risk of spreading misinformation.
Exactly. And I don't think Rogan himself is trying to do that necessarily.
No, I think he genuinely wants to have these open conversations.
Yeah, but, when you have millions and millions of people listening, it does create a certain responsibility.
For sure.
And so I think that's something that a lot of people are wrestling with right now.
Yeah, I mean, it raises a lot of questions about the role of these kinds of platforms in society.
Yeah, no, in our world.
And how to balance freedom of speech with the need to prevent the spread of harmful information.
And I think this podcast is a great example of how all of these things are coming to a head right now. So one more thing I want to talk about is this Spotify deal.
Oh, yeah.
Back in 2020, I think it was May of 2020, he signed this exclusive licensing deal with Spotify.
Reportedly for somewhere around $100 million.
That's a lot of money.
It's a huge deal.
Yeah.
And it made Rogan's show exclusive to Spotify.
So you couldn't listen to it anywhere else?
No.
Yeah.
Not for a certain period of time.
Right. I mean, this is a big deal in the podcasting world.
Absolutely. And I think it really speaks to the power and the influence of Rogan's podcast.
For sure. I mean, and it really just cemented its status as one of the most popular and influential podcasts in the world.
Yeah, I mean, regardless of the controversies,
yeah,
there's no denying that the show has a huge and dedicated listenership.
For sure. So, I mean, I think, just to kind of recap for everybody out there, we've got this podcast that's all about long-form conversations.
With a very diverse range of guests.
Exactly. And it's gotten a lot of praise for its openness and its willingness to delve into difficult topics.
But It's also faced some criticism for hosting controversial figures and for spreading misinformation.
And then, of course, there's this huge Spotify deal, which, really kind of underscores its massive influence.
Absolutely. So, I mean, it's a fascinating case study, and I think it raises a lot of questions about,
About where media is going,
yeah, where media is going, where podcasting is going.
how we consume information,
Yeah,
and, what our responsibilities are as consumers of information.
for sure.
So, I mean, given all of that, I guess the big question for you guys out there listening is, why?
Why is this show so popular?
What is it about the Joe Rogan experience,
Why is it so influential?
that has resonated with so many people?
Yeah, what is it about those long-form conversations?
Right. And this wide range of guests.
Yeah, and that format.
It's a really interesting question, and I don't think there's an easy answer.
No, there isn't. And I think that's what makes it so fascinating.
So we'll leave you with that to ponder, and thanks for joining us today on The Deep Dive.
It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
See you next time.